welcome to yet another episode of the Disruption Talks, where we invite top experts to discuss digital acceleration, winning strategies, innovation, and scaling products. My name is Barbara Rybicka. I am Commercial Director here at Netguru, and today I'd like everybody to join me in warmly welcoming Manuel Zaccaria, the Head of Program Management and Integration at lastminute.com. Manuel, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Barbara? Good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much. I'm very good as well. Pretty excited about this episode. And just to put everybody on the same page, lastminute.com is a travel tech leader in dynamic holiday packages. And how you like to speak about yourself is that you live for the holidays. I really like that bit, and I think we all live for holidays, so it's very relatable.
Yeah.
And
Manuel, not in the office though.
Yeah, exactly. And Manuel, before jumping straight into the topic of today, which is driving strategy execution, piece of cake, I think I'd like the audience to meet you a little bit better.
Right.
And I was wondering if you could just give us a quick overview of who you are.
Right. So I'm an Italian, originally from the Milan region, and I started my career 20 plus years ago in an electronic payment company that is now part of the Netguru, which is the #1 group in Europe for financial services and electronic payments. And I worked there in Milan first and then Brussels for a number of years, covering a number of roles. Then in 2010, I decided to change completely my life, and I moved to the United States to take a full-time MBA. And then I spent basically the entire decade there, and I got the opportunity to work at American Airlines. So I've been there basically 7+ years. Again, working in a number of senior roles, typically strategy roles, so revenue management, strategic alliances, partnerships. And then basically, long story short, I decided at a certain point to come back to Europe, but really it was very bad timing because when I got another opportunity in February 2020, I actually lost my job in another European airline because of COVID. That's basically how I started this sort of transition that brought me to lastminute.com at the beginning of 2022, right? So I've been with Last Minute for almost 4 years at this point in time.
Okay, wow, that's a really exciting progression, I would say. Milan, Brussels, then the US. Was MBA strictly connected to the TravelTech or?
Absolutely
or
not.
Okay.
I've taken an MBA with a major in general management at the University of Virginia Darden School of Business with a double degree in St. Gallen here in Switzerland. So it was typically general management. There wasn't any clear focus.
Okay, I understand.
I ended up in travel because I've always loved the industry, and there was this opportunity at American Airlines. So we liked each other, and I was like, okay, why not? So I moved to Dallas, Texas for that, which was also an experience. A lot of things that I learned there.
Can imagine. And currently you're leading the program management team.
Yes.
And of course, it's a strategy capability. I'm wondering, how does your normal day look like, more or less, if there's any typical day in what you do?
That's a great question. So basically, there's no typical day. Every day is different, and there are days, to be honest, that are really hectic. So here, some people tend to, let's say, stick to this last minute thing, the way of living. So they come up with some requests at the very last second. So especially for us, we typically connect like everybody at the company. And obviously, we typically have some, I don't want to call them deadlines, but target dates to deliver certain things, to release certain products, to launch, I don't know, new markets, whatever. And sometimes you really have to run after people. So I would say it's really like it depends a lot. This is a period that is very intense, to be honest with you. There are periods that are a little bit less, let's say, busy.
Okay, okay, okay. I bet now is the season, isn't it? Probably.
High season for sure. In Europe, it's really like we are getting into the peak, which is July, August.
Okay, okay. Well, slowly, slowly getting there. In a week, this peak season starts, I believe. And now, like moving a little bit into what you do. As you mentioned, there's no typical day, but
Right.
what is the relationship between program management and strategy execution? How would you connect the two?
Right. So typically, I mean, let me start from the strategy topic. So strategy, I mean, what is it? It's about like having an idea of where you want to be in the future, and like what kind of key, let's say, pillars you need to be there, you need to work on, right? So typically, like what we do, we set these pillars that also become like our key objectives, right? And then out of those objectives, what we do, we sort of curve out these programs to achieve what we call key results. So basically, this is a little bit the OKR model, right, that we apply as many other companies of similar size. And obviously, within these, we are the team driving these sort of activities through these programs. And programs, typically, to give you an idea, are like, quite simply put, it's basically they are bundles of projects, right? So projects that are interconnected with some dependencies. So obviously here, since there is a lot of complexity, a lot of stakeholders, you need to have someone, typically a program manager, to a little bit, let's say, lead the orchestra. Let's put it that way, if you allow me this metaphor. So it's a lot of coordination work. It's a lot of alignment work. It's a lot of communication work. We spend most of our days communicating with people, right? So passing information on, clarifying doubts, answering questions, asking questions. So it's a little bit the core of what we do, right?
Okay, okay. Yeah, sounds like well, doesn't sound like a piece of cake, I would say, especially the communication bit. I bet there are teams that you need to get into the communication, which is not that obvious and easy. And I'm just wondering, because you gave a nice example and a nice explanation of what a program is, that it's a number of projects bundled. But then can you give us an example of a project, just so that we as well understand what kind of area these projects could be? It
Absolutely.
can be any example, but that would be great to understand.
Right. So I can give you a few examples. So one program that I ran myself last year was the app program. So we built basically a travel companion app for our customers.
Hmm. Hmm.
Long story short, we believe that the app has a lot of potential within the travel industry, because imagine, after you book, you purchase a flight, a hotel, and then you are kind of on the go. So you sort of maybe leave to go to get to your destination. Obviously, typically, you don't carry with your laptop, right? You don't have your computer. So whatever thing you need, if you have to sort of connect with us, the sole device that you carry with you is your phone, right? So what you want to do is like have apps that really like serve your needs, specifically in that moment of your, let's say, customer journey, right? So this is what we try to accomplish with this program, right? So basically, we developed an app that really like gives you the right information just in time, that empowers you when it comes to self-service. So, for example, you don't have to call us, right, to, for example, change something with your booking, and at the same time allows you to purchase products that you might need right at that specific point in time, and that perhaps like when you booked your flight or hotel you didn't think about, right? And this is by the way live right now, and we keep improving that, we keep incrementing that, so that really like our customers can get the best experience possible, right? And then
Okay.
yeah, do
Mhm.
you have a question?
I'm just thinking about how it works in practice. So if I'm traveling to Morocco,
Uh-huh.
would my travel companion suggest me some services I can buy on the way, or I should buy on the way? Like how?
Right. You could get, as long as you gave consent, you could receive some push notifications, which are specifically relevant for you, as long as
Mhm.
obviously you gave consent to sort of use your personal, not personal, sorry, your, I would say, navigation data, so that we can customize, for example, the communication and maybe propose products that you might be interested in, right? Also, I mean, now I don't want to get into details. Obviously, you can do 1 million things. You can obviously enable the geolocation, and when you are like in proximity of some, let's say, site or event, get a push
Right.
notification to sort of get like tickets for that. That is actually another interesting program that we run. So we basically integrated a new product category that is experiences into lastminute.com,
Mhm.
that is like um, with TUI Amusement, right? TUI Amusement is one of the European leaders in this specific marketplace that is like experiences events. They basically sell tickets for, I don't know, museums, attractions, sites, whatever, right? And the guided tours, like number of things. And this is also something that now our customers can purchase through our properties.
Okay. Well, that sounds super interesting for a person traveling,
Right,
especially with no high preparation. And this is how it is. You can never
right,
prepare fully for the
right.
destination that you're going to visit. Um, Okay, and when you, because I think a number of times in our conversation, what was mentioned as well is that, of course, you transform and innovate the product and the services of Last Minute through how you operate with your team. So, how would you say that the program management contributes to this? Can you explain and elaborate on that?
Right. This is a great question. So, in terms of transformation, everything that we do basically sort of brings about transformation. Okay. So, typically, what we do, we have a baseline, an as-is situation that we start from, and obviously, we have a desired status, desired situation that we want to get to. So, basically, the program is going to be structured, set up to go from point A to point B in a kind of efficient uh, way to produce the results that we want to produce, right? So everything really like for us brings about change. And then obviously the very interesting thing is how this change is received by the organization, which is the integration part. So basically we do things, but we're going to make sure that people at a certain point when like their context changes, they kind of adapt to that, right? So they change to whatever they need to change, right? Perhaps the organization or like their processes, whatever, right? Then when it comes to innovation, well, innovation is slightly different thing in a sense that obviously innovation, the way I see it, is really like doing or launching a new product, right? New feature. To me, strictly related to product. Obviously, some things that we do are innovative. Some other are maybe not so innovative, but maybe we do them to sort of reach some efficiency. So we want to basically do the same thing, maybe saving some money or like saving some time for our customers, right? So I don't know if how that could be really like considered innovation, but like um, it's a part of what we do, right? So for example, now we are about to launch a new product. I'm not going to speak about it since it's not live yet, but I mean, I would say that's kind of an innovative program that we run, right? So we're going to contribute to that and see how the customers like it or not.
Okay, that sounds exciting. Of course, we're all waiting for more details on the new product. But then I just wanted to take a step back and discuss the change a bit because Of course, change can be exciting, but it's also very hard many times. So I'm just wondering, because your team would probably be the company, be the team that is basically walking everybody through that change, right?
Right.
And can you give like either an example or just describe how you do it? Because I think for many companies these days, this is inevitable, and this is a big part of how they are operating in in this volatile market, I would say.
Right. Yes. So typically, now to come really to the point, I think that the key aspect here is what we call benefits and value management. Okay. So you want to show, for example, what's in it for customers, internal stakeholders, the company overall, right? So typically, uh, we do something because, for example, we want to improve the customer experience. We want to make sure that they can do something new that before they couldn't do. So satisfy or meet a new need, or like do something that we already do, like just in less time for them, right? Imagine they have a need to change one of their bookings, they can either call us, which typically
Mhm.
takes longer, or just go to the app and just do it themselves, and that would take like 30 seconds
Yeah, well, everybody would choose the latter, of
and would
course. I
not
mean,
and would not
yeah.
cost them anything, right? So it's a no-brainer. So or like, for example, in the case obviously of like, for example, entering a new market or launching a new product overall, obviously here you have to make sure that you clearly communicate all the benefits and value for the company as well, because otherwise you're not going to get the budget to do something like that, right? So there is a number of conversations that you want to have related to different stakeholders, right? Including customers, and that is how you sort of persuade people about the pros, of doing of running this transformation, doing this kind of stuff that we have in mind, right? So it's always about what am I going to get out of it? What am I going to
Mhm.
gain, right?
Right, right, right. I think it applies to pretty much everything in life, as long as you can present with the benefits and what it really brings in terms of value. And do you have any habits or like strategic frameworks that you follow at lastminute.com, or just like your private strategic frameworks that you follow to stay ahead?
But the thing is, we are an agile company, okay? No waterfall here.
Mhm.
We are typically very agile in the sense that obviously we have a let's say uh, good size product team and product technology team as a consequence. So obviously here, I would say it's more a mindset. Obviously, it's more culture. We obviously within the boundaries set by the sort of strategy, right? So the OKR that we need to achieve within the obviously and within the programs that we have. There is always some, let's say, leeway for especially product people to experiment, to sort of understand what works and what doesn't, right? So we typically tend to use a lot A/B tests to understand a little bit whether customers like new solutions or not, and what we could do to really like improve their experience, right? So we have a, for example, voice of customer department that really listens to our customers and tries to take action on all the feedback that we get, right? So it's not always easy, but we try.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think that was mentioned as well a couple of times, maybe not in exactly that context, but I strongly believe that in any kind of improvements, both for customers, but also the internal ones that you're running, probably data is super important. Can you comment on that? How important data would be for you internally at lastminute.com?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I missed
Sure.
the first part.
Sure. So I think a couple of times that what you mentioned is that you basically get the customer feedback, for instance, to improve
Right.
some of the features that you have internally. And I just wanted to park a little bit around the data and how you use it and how important it
Right,
is for the
right.
for you as the leader in program management.
I mean, typically, obviously, we use data for a number of things, right? So clearly, data are super important, and they will be even more so with AI, obviously, that everybody is going to adopt for specific use cases, right? So clearly, data are super important. The point is like. Here there are always like two issues. One is like to track certain events within, let's say, the customer journey, the product, and then on the other hand is also knowing how to uh, like aggregate this data in a way that makes sense to sort of derive insights that allow you to take decisions, right? So this is going to be super important. Let's say when you launch a new product, obviously, and this is something that I think probably also you would experience a lot. You need obviously a new set of data, metrics, KPIs, and like from day one to understand whether the product is performing or not, and whether how you can improve it, for example. So yeah, for sure, this is going to be a key.
Okay. And I'm not going to lie, I wanted to use this question as a segue to the next big topic that I wanted to touch upon with you. And this is about the biggest opportunities within travel tech. Because I'm just wondering what it is from your side to be, truly future proof. And would you say it's data, partnerships, or maybe something completely else that you wanted to add here?
So the data thing, for sure, it's going to be very important, right? And how you use them. It's not just about having data; it's how you use them, how you structure yourself to use these data, and like to use them timely to sort of run decision making, right, in a very efficient way, very like timely manner. Then when it comes to partnerships, for sure. So obviously we are 100% digital company. Okay, we are one of the first OTAs in the market. We've been out there for almost 30 years. So obviously the way we structured our growth was also through partnerships, meaning we developed a partnership ecosystem whereby we, for example, market on behalf of our partners their products, or for example, we kind of let our partners market their products to our customers, right? So it could be either way. And obviously this is super important because clearly we can't be specialist of everything. So you need to be like rely also on some partners and their like, mm, let's say, area of focus or specialization, and like from there clearly see how we can sort of create a win-win situation, right? This is what partnerships are all about, right? So overall, I would say that's super important. But obviously, what is really going to be key is like technology overall, not
Right.
just AI, like everything, how we use like technology. For example, we just migrated our microservices a couple of years ago to the cloud. We were a little bit behind that, so obviously that is something that is going to be super important to scale your operations, right, accordingly. So you have to know how to use technology, and that is also like embedded in our mission, right, which is to lead the travel industry leveraging technology to simplify and personalize and enhance the customer experience, right? So I'd say it's super important.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I understand that the travel companion that you created is exactly that. Is exactly leading the way through the technology because, of course, it's tech driven from that perspective.
Right.
And Manuel, like I would like to change the perspective for a minute, and what I want to ask you is, if you were a person in the audience, what would you what should you take from this conversation from that perspective?
Yeah, I think like, for sure, like uh, the way you sort of execute strategy is by, first of all, fostering collaboration, a collaborative environment. That's the key aspect, I would say. So, and it doesn't have to sound like a cliche. Okay, it's really like collaboration is, okay, what can I do for you, what you can do for me, right? It's all about that, having that mindset. So this is also like, some people call it like break silos, right? Where it's all about like, okay, well, you're outside of my area, then okay, I mean, you're kind of an outsider, right? So that is not going to help an organization like ours, right? So a digital one. So it's all about like how we can help each other. That is super important. People really have to adopt this mindset, everyone, because otherwise it's not going to work. And then, like I would say, obviously, takeaway number two, uh, technology for sure is going to be vital. And obviously you need to know uh, what technology you should use given like all the different use cases, your industry, your business. Typically travel has always been like a very tech heavy industry since like decades ago, when they started with the GDS, like the global distribution systems, to basically distribute product affairs, like from airlines to travel agencies, right? So, and this obviously has changed, has evolved, but is always there. Now, obviously, with AI, this is going to sort of have a very solid, strong impact on the customer experience, right? As well as on operations, automation as well, right? And then what else? Actually, I'm going to ask you this question. So it doesn't become a monologue. But what is one point that you think is going to be a good take for you?
Sure, sure. So thank you very much for turning the question. So I think what was obvious was that I particularly stopped at the moment you discussed the change and how to, adapt to the change and how to lead the change and etc. And I think that bit is really particularly interesting to me, and that's the key takeaway I would take. And the things that you mentioned, you even mentioned that maybe they sound cliche to me. Everything that sounds cliche is usually the most difficult. So everything that sounds really simple is super difficult. So building that collaborative culture and finding the way to really do that, to make people want to collaborate and to make people feel confident enough in the environment to collaborate is something that I will take away from this conversation, and is something that I particularly I'm interested in digging a little bit deeper. But obviously the technology part, that's in my blood, so that's something that resonates with me a lot, and I'm super happy that you mentioned that part. I think there's no future without it.
Once a tech guy, always a tech guy, right?
Exactly. Manuel, that's a great summary, I think, of the conversation that we had. And what can I say? Thank you very much for it. It was an excellent conversation. I hope you have a great day today. And thank you very much, and see you in another episode.
Thank you. Thank to the audience, and don't forget to book your summer holidays. It's just
Even if
about
it's
the right
last
time.
minute.
Even if it's last, absolutely. If it's last minute, even better.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Manuel.
Bye, bye,
Take care.
bye.
Bye bye.